What if the biggest changes in your life didn't come from years of hard work, long-term planning, or luck, but from a single moment, a single decision? Picture this. You're standing at the edge of a choice. You may not even realize it. It's not dramatic, it's not loud, no lightning bolt strikes, but in that quiet moment, you either move forward or you stay stuck. You choose courage or you choose comfort. And that one decision, that barely noticeable moment, quietly reshapes everything. Most people don't notice these moments until they've passed. They look back and wonder why their life hasn't changed. They blame time, money, circumstances, or people. But beneath all the noise is the simple truth. Decisions, not conditions, determine your life. I think about it, every breakthrough, every transformation, every story of success or failure you've ever heard, all of them started with a decision. Someone said enough is enough. Someone took a risk. Someone said yes when everything inside them screamed no. Or worse, someone stayed silent, said maybe later, and watched life pass by. You're not stuck because you don't know enough. You're stuck because you haven't decided. The most powerful people aren't always the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who decided differently. They chose to act when others waited. They chose to commit when others hesitated. And that choice, repeated again and again, shaped a destiny. You have that power too, right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. You don't need permission. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a decision, because in the end, your future isn't waiting for you. It's waiting for you to choose it. And when you do, everything begins to change. Every day we're faced with choices, some small and forgettable, others life-altering. From the moment we wake up, our brains are processing options, what to wear, what to eat, how to respond, where to focus our energy. But not all decisions are created equal. Some hold the power to redirect the course of our lives. Even if we don't see it at the time, it's not the number of decisions that matters, it's the quality, the clarity, and the conviction behind them. We often assume that life changes slowly, over time, through gradual improvement. But the truth is, real transformation happens in an instant. The moment we make a firm, unshakable decision. It's in that flash of clarity where we stop negotiating with our limitations and start drawing lines in the sand. Whether it's deciding to end a toxic relationship, pursue a dream career, improve our health, or finally stand up for ourselves, change begins the moment we say, no more, or this is what I want. The challenge isn't that we don't know what we want. Deep down, most of us do. The real challenge is the fear, doubt, and hesitation that creep in just before the leap. We second guess, we delay, we convince ourselves we need more information, more time, more approval. And while we wait, our momentum slips away. And with it, the power of the decision we were about to make. But here's the truth. Indecision is also a decision. By not choosing, we choose the status quo. By not acting, we allow circumstances to decide for us, and slowly the life we wanted slips further out of reach. Not because it was impossible, but because we didn't commit. Decision-making is more than a practical skill. It's a life skill. It's the foundation of progress, confidence, and freedom. The people who live with purpose and direction aren't lucky. They've simply trained themselves to decide powerfully and consistently. They've learned to trust their inner voice more than external noise. They act with intention, not impulse. You don't need to have it all figured out to make a powerful decision. In fact, you rarely will. What you need is a willingness to step forward without guarantees, to take responsibility for your direction, and to realize that the path only becomes clear after you take the first step, because it's not the world that holds you back, it's the decisions you haven't made yet. The greatest obstacle to creating real change in life isn't a lack of resources, knowledge, or even opportunity. It's hesitation. Most people aren't suffering from the wrong tools. They're suffering from the inability to decide and commit. They're stuck in limbo, waiting for the perfect time, the right sign, or the guarantee that things will work out. And in the process, they surrender their power to chance. Indecision creates a slow, silent erosion of potential. It looks harmless on the surface. A delay here, a little procrastination there, but over time it becomes a pattern. That pattern becomes a mindset, and that mindset becomes a life defined by reaction, not creation. Instead of shaping our lives intentionally, we adapt to circumstances and settle for less than what we're capable of achieving. The tragedy isn't that people aim high and miss. It's that they aim low and hit. Many of us live in this cycle without even realizing it. We become experts at rationalizing our inaction. We say things like, I'm just being cautious, or I need more clarity, or now's not the right time. But underneath those statements is often fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of making the wrong choice. So we delay, we analyze, we overthink, and we wait for certainty in a world that offers none. This habit of hesitation shows up everywhere in our careers, relationships, health, and dreams. We stay in jobs that drain us because we're afraid of starting over. We hold back from expressing our feelings because we fear rejection. We avoid pursuing goals because we're scared we won't succeed. The result is a life that feels safe but small, comfortable but constrained. The truth is, every breakthrough is on the other side of a decision. But to get there, we have to face the discomfort of not knowing what comes next. We have to stop waiting for clarity to arrive before we act. Clarity isn't something you wait for. It's something you earn through movement, through action, through deciding, even when it's hard. The challenge is not to eliminate fear, but to move anyway, not to find the perfect answer, but to make a choice and shape the outcome as you go. Because the real danger isn't in making the wrong decision. It's in never making one at all. And if you don't choose your path, someone or something else will choose it for you. Decision-making is often misunderstood as a logical process, a weighing of pros and cons, a calm and calculated evaluation. But real decisions, the kind that shape lives, aren't just intellectual. They're emotional. They come from the gut, from a moment of intense clarity where something inside you says, this must change, or this is what I'm going to do. That internal fire, more than analysis, is what drives action. The truth is, people don't lack motivation, they lack connection to their reasons. When the why behind a decision is strong enough, the how starts to reveal itself. That's why the first step in mastering decision-making is getting crystal clear on what you truly want. Not what you think you should want, not what others expect, but what actually sets your soul on fire. Most people never ask themselves that question, honestly. They drift through life following routines, avoiding discomfort, and settling for what's familiar. But clarity is power. Without it, no decision can truly stick. Once clarity is in place, the next key is commitment. A real decision isn't made when you say, I'll try. It's made when you say, I must, and back it with action. That means cutting off escape routes, refusing to entertain the old excuses, and stepping fully into the choice. Commitment sharpens focus. It silences the noise. When the decision is firm, the distractions fall away. But there's still another layer, emotional state. The decisions we make when we're tired, stressed, or fearful are rarely the ones that serve us. On the other hand, when we're energized, confident, and focused, our decisions tend to reflect courage and clarity. This is why mastering your emotional state is essential to making good choices. Sometimes it's as simple as changing your physiology, moving your body, shifting your breath, getting into motion. Other times it's about reframing your thoughts, reminding yourself of your values, or connecting with your bigger vision. Decision-making is not a one-time event. It's a skill that can be developed. It's a muscle that grows stronger the more you use it. And like any skill, it requires awareness, discipline, and practice. The more consistently you decide with clarity, commitment, and confidence, the more momentum you build. Over time, you start to trust yourself. You start to believe in your ability to navigate uncertainty, and that belief becomes the foundation for every meaningful change you want to create. There comes a moment in every person's life when something shifts. It might not look dramatic on the outside, There may be no applause, no spotlight, no immediate reward, but inside, everything changes. It's the moment when the excuses no longer work, when the pain of staying the same outweighs the fear of change. It's not a matter of if you're ready, it's a matter of deciding you won't go back. This moment often comes after years of buildup, moments of frustration, disappointment, or quiet dissatisfaction. You've tolerated too much, settled too often, waited too long, and then without warning, a line gets drawn. You say, I'm done. Not out of anger, but out of clarity. You realize the life you want won't arrive on its own. You have to claim it. That decision made fully and deeply becomes the turning point. It might be the moment you walk away from something that no longer serves you. It might be the moment you finally start something you've always dreamed about, or the moment you speak a truth you've buried for years. Whatever the form, the power is the same. It's not the size of the action that matters. It's the depth of the decision behind it. That's the moment that separates a wandering path from a chosen one. People often look back and point to these moments as the beginning of their transformation. But what they don't always realize is that the moment didn't appear by accident. It was the result of a decision, firm, final, and fearless. Not a decision made in comfort, but one made in discomfort, made in uncertainty, made without knowing what would happen next. And yet that's what made it powerful, because growth never waits for perfect conditions. It demands courage, and courage only shows up when you're willing to move forward without guarantees. This is the point where everything begins to align. The energy changes. The people around you sense it. New opportunities appear. Not because the world has changed, but because you have. You've stepped into your own power. You're no longer asking for permission. You've made a choice, and the ripple effect begins. This key moment, this invisible yet unmistakable shift, becomes the quiet birth of a new identity, one no longer ruled by fear, hesitation, or old stories, one shaped by action, ownership, and resolve. Everything that follows traces back to this moment, the one where you finally decided. When we look at the lives of people who have created real transformation, those who've broken through barriers, changed direction, or built something extraordinary, it's easy to assume they had some secret advantage. But more often than not, the difference isn't in their background, education, or circumstances. The difference is that they made a decision and they backed it with consistent action. They weren't smarter, they weren't luckier, they simply chose not to remain where they were. At the core of every meaningful change is a decision, one that's made with intention, not hesitation, one that comes from clarity, not confusion, and one that signals the end of delay and the beginning of movement. It doesn't matter if the decision is personal, professional, emotional, or physical. What matters is the moment you take full ownership of your direction and stop waiting for something outside of you to change. Every person has the power to decide. It's one of the few things we truly control. The power to say yes, to say no, to walk away, to begin again, to stay the course, or to pivot. And yet most people give that power away. They let fear decide. They let doubt decide. They let other people decide. And then they wonder why life feels out of alignment. But once you reclaim that power, once you realize that your future is shaped more by your decisions than your conditions, everything begins to shift. You start to move differently. You begin to trust yourself. You stop waiting for perfect timing and you act with conviction. That's where momentum comes from. Not from luck, but from intention paired with courage. The truth is, your life right now is the result of past decisions, some conscious, some unconscious, and your future will be shaped by the ones you make today. So if you want something to change, if there's a goal you haven't reached or a part of yourself you've ignored, The path isn't about waiting. It's about choosing. You don't need to know all the answers. You don't need the entire map. You just need to decide. Decide what matters. Decide what's no longer acceptable. Decide where you're growing, because once you do, you activate a force within yourself that's been waiting, not for a miracle, but for your command. Now is the time to stop consuming and start creating. Stop thinking and start deciding, because nothing will change until you do. The truth is, you already know the area of your life that's calling for a decision. It's been whispering to you for weeks, maybe months, maybe even years, whether it's your health, your relationships, your career, your finances, or your sense of purpose. There is something that needs your full attention, something that will only begin to shift the moment you choose differently. So here's the challenge. Give yourself 10 quiet minutes today. No phone, no noise, just you and your thoughts. Ask yourself one honest question. What decision am I avoiding that could change everything? Write it down. Don't filter it. Don't soften it. Let the truth rise to the surface. Then ask the next question. What's one action I can take in the next 24 hours to honor that decision? Not a big leap, just a small, clear, irreversible step. That's how change begins, not with the final result, but with a single action that affirms your choice. Maybe it's a phone call, a cancellation, a commitment, a new habit, a conversation. One step that breaks the cycle of delay and builds momentum. Once you take that step, you'll feel something shift inside you. That's not coincidence, that's alignment. From here on, make it a practice every day. Remind yourself, my future depends on the decisions I make today. Let that guide how you show up, how you lead yourself, how you respond when fear shows up. You won't always feel ready, but you don't need to be ready. You need to be committed. This isn't about chasing perfection. It's about building the muscle of decisiveness. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. And the stronger it becomes, the less life will control you and the more you will control the direction of your life. So don't wait for the right time. Don't wait for confidence to magically appear. Act now, choose now, decide now, because the most powerful version of your life is already waiting for you, but it won't come closer until you take the first step. The question isn't, can you do it? The question is, will you decide to?